What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Premodern video. Today we're going to be trying a deck that I've been thinking about for a little bit since Lani introduced the concept, which is actually an older concept that I had forgotten about. Didn't even think about applying it to Premodern, but after thinking about it, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I'm very excited to give it a shot. So let's check it out. For those of you legacy aficionados out there, you may be aware of a legacy streamer by the name of Hello Newton. He was innovating in the concept of what he called Cradle control, which is effectively grabbing all of Elves' core, like the good cards, and then kind of shifting away from being a straight up combo Elves deck with like the Limbs of Nature and stuff like that, and turning it a little bit more mid-range, more interactive, just be able to play a fairer game. It's more robust overall. And this is a concept that Lani suggested, which I thought was super interesting. His idea was based around playing more Burst of Paradise, which actually enables for a fairly easy splash for red cards, which we're going to get into it very quickly. But the main thing is that we play 10 1-drops instead of playing a bunch of untappers. So he's been calling it no untapper elves, which I think it's a pretty descriptive name, so that makes sense as well. But the idea is that when you go turn 1 Mana Dork as opposed to turn 1 Cradle Ranger or Symbiote, the deck is so much more explosive. So he was trying to build around the concept of going 1 into 3. Now, I think that is a strong idea, but the problem with trying to go 1 into 3 is that if you fail, like if your dude gets bolted on turn 1, then you end up with a very clunky turn 2, where you may, play another 1-drop or something like that, and then you pass back. So that's like super susceptible to getting just tempoed out, which is very awkward when you're trying to be the one that is tempoing your opponent. So my idea was to grab a similar concept, to take that concept, and instead of trying to build it into 1 into 3, try to build it into 1 into 2+1. So in that way, because we're going heavy on the 2s instead of going heavy on the 3s, what happens is if our dude gets bolted, then we play a 2-drop on turn 2, or which is actually pretty relevant 2-drops, which we're gonna be describing in a second. And if your dude does not get bolted, then you still get to deploy your 2-drop plus hopefully a 1-drop or something else. So I think that this concept is very appealing to me, so I wanted to give it a shot, and I put this list together, which overall looks quite solid to me. So we have, as I was saying, 10 1-drops that actually tap for mana. So we have Birds, Finhorn Elves, and Llanowar Elves, notably more birds than everything else. This of course has a little bit of conflict going on with Werewood Symbiote and Priest of Titania specifically, but we're not really going deep on those cards. We're not trying to maximize that synergy, and we're trying to basically get to the range Hermit as consistently as possible. Notably as well, going 1 into 1+2 enables you to drop a 5-drop on turn 3. So that's another important aspect that this way to go about it enables, which I thought was very interesting. But your 2-drops are actually pretty solid. We have a bunch of enchantments in Survival and Sylvan Library, and then some Wall of Blossoms. I also consider the Wall of Roots, because Wall of Roots again makes it easier to cast Hermit on turn 3. But I thought that going with the cantrip walls made more sense, because of you don't want to run out of stuff to do. You don't want to run out of actual card. Wall of Blossoms does that. It puts something on the board which helps your Gaia's Cradle much better. Which, by the way, going 2+1 helps in this aspect as well. Contrary, you can go with Sylvan Library or Survival instead. Library is quite strong on turn 2, but like Survival not as strong. It's only good when you're trying to like sneak it through counter magic or something like that. But so I was actually thinking about going up to 4 Wall of Blossoms for this reason, but I wanted to do the 3/3 split with Sylvan Library. If I were to cut a card, it would probably be the Library in order to make room for the 4th wall. But I wanted to first give it a shot like this. Then we have a bunch of like fair cards, and the thing about this deck is that hopefully I'm trying to build a deck that works well when you don't draw Survival. So we have libraries, we have Wall of Blossoms, we have Battle Mage, which this is a pretty solid card. Again, like I'm trying to beat the decks that usually beat Elves. That is the obviously not really Replenish, because we can't really beat Replenish, but I'm talking about goblins and stuff like that. So then we have Crows and Tusker to find our mountain, of course, because we do have Anger, and we have a couple of Masticores. In the first iteration of the deck that I tried out, I had 3 Masticores in the main deck, and again trying to play a more robust game, having more business cards, but I ended up going with Sky Shroud Poacher because I found about Kaisa. So the cool thing about Kaisa is that this has actually been errated as an elf, which is a huge deal because we can fund it off of Poacher. And this is kind of like a self-contained engine where on your opponent's end step, you go for like Hermit or whatever, and then your upkeep, you can go get Kaisa or somewhere the other way around. If you have Anger in play, you can go end step Kaisa into untap Hermit and swing for a gazillion. A couple of Vigilantes to deal with enchantments and artifacts, which is a must in Premodern these days. And notably, one thing, going back to being more robust, this is a concept that I already was applying in my regular Elves list, but now we're playing full copies of Rishadan Port. Again, the idea is I want this deck to not rely as heavily on having 1-drops. Like, it's built around 1-drops, but I don't want to lose the game when my 1-drops gets bolted, which is something that oftentimes happens whenever you're playing Elves. So that's why we have Rishadan Port, which is a way to interact with your opponent and actually make a land drop. Like, it taps for mana, helps you cast your walls, your libraries, your Masticores, etc. I also consider adding one extra copy of Basic Forest, like going up to 23rd land, but I wanted to start here, try to be a little bit more greedy, to put it somehow. The other idea would be to cut one of the ports for another Basic Forest. That's another thing I considered, but yeah, we're going with this at first. And the ports work really well with Winter Orb and Tanglewire, which we have our other side where this is going to be the strategy against the combo decks and against stuff like Replenish and Enchantress and whatnot. Tormod Script, for the same reason, I expect these cards to come in fairly often against my bad matchups more often than not. Then Naturalizes and Tranquil Domain, more of the same. And then Sharpshooter and Genesis are the other creatures in the sideboard. I wanted to make sure that even though my sideboard is mostly non-creatures, I still have 31 creatures main deck, which is, again, another reason to play wall over library. So this means that our survival will be somewhat consistent. Even when we cut like 5 creatures, we're still going to have 25 creatures or like 26 creatures in our deck. So that's going to make things when sideboarding it's not going to make us go below a reasonable amount of creatures for survival purposes. And the last card is Pyroclasm. This is mostly an idea that was bounced around in the Elves Discord, which is, I think it makes much more sense in this deck. Like, so my idea against Goblins, if I get paired against it, is going to be to bring in Sharpshooter, Pyroclasms, and stuff like that, and just cut a bunch of like, like Fieldhorn Elves and whatnot. We'll see if it works. Maybe I'll end up cutting the Range Hermits instead. Like, this card seems a little bit worse. But being able to have a catch up against a deck like Goblins, which they're trying to like go long, and prolong the game because it gets better for them. Like, Pyroclasm just stopped that on its tracks. And because we have so many walls and stuff, we get to buy time. Once again, another reason to play for Wall of Blossoms. And it also blocks Lackey super well. So, but this is one thing that has been a problem before. Is like, even if you're able to deal with Lackey, if it hits you even once, like if your opponent's on the play, even if you have like 6 walls in your deck or 8 walls or whatever, if your opponent's on the play and they have turn 1 Lackey, and you play your Birds to block or your Elves to trade, and then they kill it with a Fanatic or whatever, and now even though you play your wall on turn 2, you're so far behind at that point if they drop a War Chief or a Siege Gang, so you usually end up losing anyway. Well, now Pyroclasm gives us like a way for that to not be the case. So we get to actually catch up, which is something that the Elves deck couldn't really do before. So I'm very excited about this. We also have, more Carplusum Forests as a way to hopefully be able to see our red sources more often. But yeah, having access to Birds of Paradise enables for this. I also thought that it was possible to do like a white splash, so other folks have been considering stuff like Armageddon and whatnot, but I feel like that's a little bit too deep, so I ended up going with Winter Orb and Tangled Wires instead for the combo matchups. Alright, that's going to be the deck we're going to be playing through this Magic Online League. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you for round number 1. Thank you for watching. Here we are for round number 1. We have a bunch of dorks, we have a bunch of walls. Let's keep this hand. Let's do this for science. We're on the draw, playing against a Dark Waste. I think I'm gonna lead on this because of a Dark Wastes. My opponent wants to plow this, I gain a life. Could matter if I draw a Sylvan Library, and there you go. So we really want to draw land here, so that we can go double dork on turn 2. Expand. So I'm assuming we're playing against Replenish. And now we know for a fact that we're against Replenish. That's pretty rough, actually. Okay, so what do we do here? I guess I have to develop mana. Really awkward. I kind of want to play Wall of Blossoms, but then if we whiff, then we're going to be behind the turn. So I don't think I can afford to do that. This is most likely a matchup that we will wish that we were actually playing regular elves as opposed to this version. But it is what it is. Let's play a bird here. Really wish I had found a land there, but it is what it is. If we find a land, next turn I'm just gonna go Vigilante and flip it. Because if my opponent has something else, no land. I guess I'm gonna dig for one. So let's play another wall, Symbiote. I guess that's free to play out, because I can always bounce my Llanowar anyways if I want to. So it's not looking particularly great. Plowing response, sure. I mean, if my opponent's hand is a clunker, maybe we can get away with murder here. Maybe they just have a bunch of lands and nothing to do with them. So, custom morph here. They mana, you can just pay for it. Actual counterspell? I did not expect that. We already have Anger in hand, so I'd rather just try to maximize my mana, I guess. Maybe they're playing the control version of Replenish as opposed to the combo version. That would make sense. I mean, Kaisa looking kind of good here, if that's the case. I guess if they're playing Wrath, that's very bad for me. Wave. Okay, so they Wrath my board, which is not ideal. But they're down to one card in hand, and I guess I'm going to cast this Anger and get cooking. It's not like I have much better options, and I have to get a clock going here. They're down to one card. Survival. Okay. Another counterspell. Oh, mana leak. Okay. Pretty awkward game, but sure. I don't think my opponent should have fetched there. The 1 point of life may actually matter. Let's get the Skycloud Expanse here. Opponent does nothing. Tusker. Let's cycle. Get a forest. Draw a card. Another survival. Swing for 2. And I think I'm just jamming survival here. Like, again, I don't think that I'm achieving much by porting my opponent in the current situation we're in. And by doing that, if they do have a counterspell, now I can spend this turn to cast Kaisa and put my opponent on a 1-turn clock. And I'm playing Kaisa here because I think it's more likely my opponent has another Parallax Wave than they have another Source to Plowshares. Also, if they have, well, I guess, never mind. Numbers don't lie. Here we go. Swing for 5. Yeah, we're gonna play this thing. They could have Replenish. That brings back Seal and a Wave. Another Wave. So that buys my opponent a turn, but not much more than that. I have some lever in my deck, so I'm gonna hold on to this fetch land. Definitely paying for Echo. Another Hermit. Opponent's exiling all the dudes. Taking 1. Now the Wave comes back. My opponent could find Replenish or nothing. On to game 2. So we definitely want Genesis. We want Winter Orb, Tangle Wire, and we want our enchantment removal. I suspect we want Tormod Script as well. Now, we don't want Water Blossoms, don't want Battle Mage, we don't want Masticore. This is weird because we are like halfway between a combo deck and a control deck on my opponent's side, so it's a little bit awkward. For example, I'm not entirely positive on how good a card like Poacher is. Like, it's definitely not great against the Replenish angle, but it's definitely very good against the counterspell, like random things like that angle. We can probably cut the Priest. Actually, we're being a bunch of Winter Orbs and stuff, so maybe Priest is okay. Let's cut 1 Hermit. I like Tusker. We could cut Anger, but I don't think so. We could cut maybe like Tormod Script. I'm gonna sideboard as if my opponent is indeed playing the control version instead of the combo version of Replenish. So I think I want to cut maybe 1 Bird of Paradise, maybe 2. Maybe Kaisa is worse than the range Hermit. Very interesting hand. I think I keep this. Fantastic draw. Let's play Llanowar. And now turn 2, we're gonna go Library into Survival. I guess we're just gonna play Library. And I'm taking a point here instead of preventing my opponent from taking 1. I think there's more value in me doing this. My opponent's just gonna crack here, yeah, there's no question there, so I'd rather do that. And I'm hiding the Cradle, so I'm still not sure what my opponent will do. Tusker is interesting. I could tap a land, but I think I'm just gonna go play Library. I could tap both 2 sources. There's the counterspell, and now we land Survival. My opponent could have a Naturalize effect, but I think this is fine. Maybe I should have played the other port instead of the Cradle there, just in case. Oh, they are playing Attunement. They're not cracking right now. Interesting. So let's double port. Opponent Swords in response. Kind of brutal. So let's pitch Hermit. We're going to get Squee. Pitch Squee. We're going to get Anger. And now it's going to pass the turn. Upkeep. And we're going to tap the white source. So if I fetch for a green source, then I don't get Mountain. So I need to be careful about my choice here. Seal of Cleansing. So they're going to get rid of the Survival. That's fine. So now we get to pitch the Anger. And I guess we're going to go get a 1-drop. Could go for Priest. Could go for Poacher. Poacher is actually really sexy. Now let's go for that. They could have Mana Leak as their last card, because they discarded both attunements, so we know it's not that. Could be Counterspell. I guess it can't be Counterspell, never mind. So this is a one-man army right here. This is looking very good for me. Play Fiendhorn. Wait, can I kill here? Cycle for Mountain. So we activate Poacher for 3, get Hermit. This now taps for 6. Cycle. Yeah, I guess it's free to lead on the elf. Fiendhorn first. Then we activate Poacher. Go get Deranged Hermit. Now Cradle taps for 7 mana. We cycle. Get him Mountain. Now our dudes are hasty. We draw Tanglewire? Is this real life? Did we really just draw Tanglewire? That's so unfair, man. We can play Tanglewire through Mana Leak too. I'm so sorry, opponent. Cast a Morph, because might as well. Bro, we just drew Tanglewire off of the cycle. That was fun. Let's see what my opponent can do here. Sabos Web, you got it, champ. Their only land is a Skycloud Expanse. That was cool. I approve of what just happened. That was exciting. Alright, see you for the next round. Here we go for round number 2 against Demi. This hand seems pretty decent. So we can kind of go off a little bit here. Turn 1 Llanowar, turn 2 World of Blossoms. Let's see what Demi's doing. Fairy Conclave. I guess it doesn't really matter, the difference in order here. Okay, so let's just go wide here. We definitely need some business. Funny, we can double kick Thornscape, which is kind of hot. Ooh, baby. Am I doing this? Hell yeah, I'm doing this. So this taps for 4. I'm just going to swing with both of these. See if he wants to block with the factory. He doesn't. So now we just make how much? 4, 5, 6. Let's just play library. Can play through Mana Leak. We don't care about that. Impulse. So my opponent could be playing mono blue, Tithe. They could be doing blue-white stuff. Most likely some sort of control deck. It looks like mono blue. That's a library. I guess we're just gonna pay 8. No reason not to. Going to swing with the boys. We'll see if now he wants to block. He's gonna block with factory. Okay. We're gonna play a Fiendhorn because it's free. And I guess this now taps for 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're just going to single kicker to play around Mana Leak. AK in response. You got it. No reason to play the second library, so I'm just gonna chill here. Priest of Titania. Not a bad draw. Let's just pay 4. And we're just gonna go with everybody a little bit short on business here, but it's okay. I'm not going to play out the extra forest because my opponent could Tithe me, but now with Priest, Tithe doesn't really do anything. I can be pretty aggressive with library because this Conclave can't really start to attack yet. Symbiote. Symbiote Thornscape's pretty sexy. I think I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna pay 4. And he kind of has to counter. Again, I'm being aggressive because he can't really do anything. And here's a Symbiote. He needs to counter this, because otherwise I can just start untapping Priest and bouncing Thornscape. And I just shock him every turn. Like, this is going to close the game fairly quickly, actually. As in next turn. Send the turn back. He can FOF on end step. That's fine. None of these cards matter. Do I just 5-0 here? I'm just gonna chain, because chain buys him a turn. Chain versus everything else. Yeah, it looks good. Surprisingly, he gets everything else. But I don't think it's going to matter. Even if he has Powder Keg, he's gonna be dead. He's gonna be dead. Game number 2. So here we like Wire, we like Genesis, Naturalizes, Winter Orb. What do we not want? Masticores, Wall. Can maybe cut one of those. Once again, I can cut some birds. Is Kaisa actually relevant? It may be. I like my ports. Cool to cut a Carplucent Forest. This leaves me at 12 green sources turn 1. Yeah, I guess that's too low. I'm not into it. Walls seem not great, but also not heinous either. Hermit sounds good. Poacher sounds good. Vigilante sounds good. I guess I'm just gonna cut the Naturalizes. We already have Thornscapes, we have Vigilantes. This hand does not look so good. Some strong cards in here, but it's not particularly effective. Down to 6. This one's sketchy. Do we go to 5 or do we keep this? I think I'm gonna keep this. And bottom the forest. Hey, look at that. Great draw. Turn 1 Llanowar. Now we get to start porting. Obviously, I'm not gonna jam the Tanglewire quite yet. Impulse on end step. I guess I'm going to port on end step. No need to do it on upkeep. We can actually attack. We can play Anger, which is kind of great here. Like, do you want to counter this? And this helps me set up the Cradle. But this makes his mana so awkward. That makes my Cradle stronger. It's something I can tap to Tangle Wire. It does multiple things for me. Fairy Conclave. Alright, so what do we do now? I think we lead on Symbiote. I'm gonna pay for mana leak here. I'm gonna go Carplucent Forest, swing for 3, and I'm gonna tap his mana on upkeep. Tap the Conclave, send the turn. Holy. Okay, that's a red source. I was not expecting that. I mean, it's not the best Pyroclasm I've ever seen, if I'm being honest. So now everything is hasty, and everybody is... Oof, that's pretty good. It's quite strong. So let's tap here. He correctly floats 1 mana, passes. Now we're gonna have the choice of going for Tangle Wire. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for Tangle Wire. This plays into Force Spike, but I'm playing around the null here. Yep, I think it's more likely he has a null than Force Spike. It's not terrible. Let's play a Winter Orb, see what he does. Now we're gonna pass the turn. Now I can start porting the mountain. I guess there's no need for me to do it. We just continue passing the turn. He can't really develop second survival. It's interesting. I think I continue passing. So many hermits, so little time. Wish I was drawing some 1-drops, tell you that much. Let's cast the survival. I have to start tapping him down, I think. Counter spell. Sure. He's gonna untap a land, and I'm gonna let him untap Carplucent Forest. I mean, I wish I were drawing some 1-drops here. He's impulsing. Probably looking for a Pyroclasm. Pyroclasm is kind of good here, not gonna lie. 4 mana, Parallax Tide. Sure. So he takes a bunch of my lands. Gonna tap the last land. Now he's gonna be able to sack a land and bounce my Winter Orb, I guess. No, but I just replay it, so that doesn't make sense. So I guess it's better to bounce my Llanowar. Oh, he doesn't bounce anything? That's pretty interesting. I'm surprised by that. I'll play survival now. Oh, now this Winter Orb is doing the Lord's work. I go find Quirion Ranger. Yeah, no land is huge for us there. So pitch this, get Quirion Ranger. I mean, he could have Force Spike. Force Spike would be devastating here, but he doesn't have it. So now we're really cooking. Symbiote is gone, so I think I just chill. I suspect he's gonna have another Pyroclasm effect. Oh, he doesn't. Interesting. So let's pitch a Thornscape, get Squee. Let's pitch Squee. We're gonna get, I guess, another 1-drop. Let's get a bird. Untap, get back Squee. Let's play bird. Let's float a mana, untap, redeploy. Question now is, do I want to jam this Tangle Wire? Don't think I do. I think I do something like play a wall. I could YOLO and go for Priest. This is the most mana, and I guess it demands an answer. But if my opponent has Pyroclasm, which I don't think they do, because I think it was pretty good to Pyroclasm last turn. But I think I'm just going to go for Wall of Blossoms. I'm just going to try to dig a little bit deeper towards a Cradle or something. It's a bunch of 1s. Would love to draw another port here. Okay, so he does have the Pyroclasm. It's a good thing I did not get the other thing. Good thing didn't get the other thing. So play Feedhorn, pass the turn. We're 1 Cradle away from running away with the game. It's a land. Forest. Let's cast Feedhorn, pass the turn. Now he kind of has to Pyroclasm again. Oh, he's impulsing? That's very good for me. Yeah, I mean, this Winter Orb is kind of taking over this game. It's getting some lands. Pitch Squee, get Genesis, pitch Genesis, get Tusker. Tusker's unreasonable. I think I'm getting back Quirion Ranger this upkeep though. Actually, never mind. Let's cycle Tusker. That's pretty nice too. But I'm gonna cycle Tusker. I want another land. And I want to dig towards Cradle. Send the turn back. Now next turn we can bring back Quirion. So I'm not gonna survival this turn, so that I can have 1 more land. Get Quirion Ranger into play. Play my land, say go. He AKs on end step. I mean, he needs to get rid of this Winter Orb. Okay, he finally found it. Maybe he should have cast the Tangle Wire at some point there. 4 mana to Tithe. The thing is that if he doesn't class him here, he's not really achieving that much. Stacked his triggers correctly. So I'm just gonna save one of these forests. So I didn't notice that he also bounced my survival, but I don't think it's super relevant. Here it comes down if he to whether he has the 3rd Pyroclasm or he doesn't. Looks like he doesn't. So now that allows me, it gives me a lot of flexibility with what I want to do here. I don't think Port does too much. I think I'm just going to play Tangle Wire. It does the same as Winter Orb here, but it uses my mana more effectively. He offs in response. Woof. That's rough. So Fire Ice is pretty brutal. I guess I split like this. Yeah, that's a good Fact or Fiction. I guess maybe I should have done... Maybe I should have done Fact or Fiction versus everything else. The Fire and Ice versus everything else. I guess I'm going to discard the Poacher. I'm not going to have time for that. Fire Ice is pretty good. And Tithe. Tithe is a funny way to get around this. Guess it doesn't really matter how we stack these, because everything is gonna get tapped. So let's fetch for a forest, and let's play another Finhorn. That's a pretty solid draw, actually. Funnily enough, if I had found the Gaia's Cradle there, I think we may have been a favorite to win, which is crazy to say. If I had found the Cradle there, then he never untaps again, basically, unless he wastes his Parallax Tide. So that would be pretty insane. Definitely gonna take it here. He's pumping too. Interesting. So now it actually matters how we stack triggers. Gonna tap Wire and the Willow Blossoms. I feel like we're in a healthy enough life total so far. Cradle, one time. Boo! That's a fine draw though. I mean, it doesn't matter what I play here, it's gonna get countered, really. I guess he has Stifle. So one of his 4 remaining cards is Stifle. It's gotta be. Once again, we're kind of in a spot where if we find the Cradle, we may be cooking. 6 down to 7. Then we untap. Tap Wire. It's not a great draw. So we just send the turn back. Guess we can swing for 1. Might as well. Let's see if he does indeed have the Stifle. He does. I'm gonna concede to that. Let's go to game number 3. He's got Pyroclasms, huh? I think a little bit more interesting in Willow Blossoms to see if he has Pyroclasms. Gonna cut a Fidhorn for that. How can I play around Pyroclasm? Maybe more Fidhorns, less Priest. Guess so. Cut a Deranged Hermit for another bird, I guess. Maybe Priest is better than the bird. Sounds kind of nice. I think I'm saving the foothills. No, I think I'm just getting a forest. I was thinking of saving it for a mountain, but moves to 5. Question now is, do I jam survival on 2? I think I do. It's only an all that matters, so ding ding ding. So now we're looking pretty solid. We have to pitch this Willow Blossoms to, I guess, find Squee first. And oh, that's a good one. So we're gonna pitch Squee. Symbiote? Yeah, definitely Symbiote. So let's get Symbiote into play. He has to counter this. He doesn't. So we're just gonna play Tangle War now. Now we have Cradle. This is a double Time Walk. We have another Time Walk ready to go. Looking pretty good here. So stack my triggers correctly. Get back my dude. 1, 2, 3. Library is nice. Library is quite nice here. So we can get anything we want. We can Poacher here. That plays into Lightning Bolt, which I'm not super excited about, but I guess that's fine. Alternatively, I could go maybe Genesis into something else. I do want to land this library though. So let's get Priest, because I don't have Priest, never mind. Could get a Wall. Anger, Genesis, man, I have so many options. I guess let's go Anger into Birth. Into Cradle, of course. Kind of living the dream here. When it's looking for a Bolt there. Found the Bolt. Okay. No land. Oof. Oh, he does have land, never mind. So now we do Fading, we get back Squee, we tap Wire and a land. We find Winter. Oh yes, just get it into my veins. So how many is this? We're playing my land. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have enough. I'm just going to Squee for a Wall first. Oh, we do have enough. Never mind. My dude's tapped for mana. So I could go for the Kaisa to play around. What's his name? I guess I'm 1 short, actually. Never mind. Could go Quirion Ranger. Oh, Quirion Ranger's good. Yeah, so we play Quirion Ranger. Then, yeah, that's better. So play Ranger. Then we make 3 mana. We pitch Thornscape to get Kaisa. Oh, we already played my land. Never mind. So that doesn't work. Obviously, the priority here is to land this Winter Orb. I'm trying to see how much mana I can make. Not being too familiar with the lines is definitely hurting here. I'm just not sure what I have left in my deck, basically. I guess I could go get a Wall. I have 7 mana. Yeah, I guess that's the best line. Could get Genesis. Yeah, I guess I do like that. So Genesis, pitch Genesis, get a Wall of Blossoms, cast Wall of Blossoms, cast Winter Orb, swing for 1. Now he untaps a land. Whatever he untaps, he needs to tap to the Tangle Wire. And next turn I can go get Deranged Hermit. Swing for 9. We should be good. Untap Gaia's Cradle, thank you very much. I love that my wall has haste. Put this back. Then I guess it's free to play Finhorn Elf. And we're gonna untap here, replay my land. Cradle now taps for 5. So I guess I can't kill this turn, so I'm just gonna go for Poacher. Because Poacher allows me to play around Pyroclasm, is that right? 1, 2, 3. Get Kaisa. I think this is good. So now he taps Factory. Even if he Clasms, I can go get Kaisa. I forgot to attack last turn with the Ranger. It was a free attack. So even if he had Pyroclasm, I get Kaisa, Ranger survives, a Poacher survives, Kaisa survives, Wall survives, and I untap and I get Hermit. Now Hermit swings for 14 plus 3 from Kaisa. I think we should be good. I mean, even if I don't win this turn, I win on the following turn, so this Winter Earth's not going anywhere. So worst case scenario there was Pyroclasm, and we had that covered. Man, and to think that I wasn't sure whether I was gonna add this one. It's kind of sick that it works around Classum like this. Sure, he got Poacher. So that doesn't actually change anything, because I get back Squee, and I just get Deranged Hermit. Might as well get a port, I guess. Deranged Hermit, you look lethal enough to me. That was fun. That was pretty cool. Alright, GG's Demi. Round number 3. Unfortunately, this is not the one drop that we want to see. I might keep in this hand, however. This hand is very strong. If I find any land in the first 2 turns, this hand doesn't completely go off, but it's super robust. Yeah, I'm just gonna mulligan. Worse. We go to 5. This is really good though. So let's keep this. I'm gonna bottom the port, and I guess I'm gonna bottom Finhorn Elves. Maybe I should have bottomed something else. I don't know. Well, obviously I should have bottomed the Sylvan Library. Now we know that. Kaisa has been drawn. Basic Swamp and Red. That's probably bad news for me. At least game 1. I mean, on a multi 5. I think if I had kept the first hand, I would have been in very good shape. But can I find any land? I'm not gonna expose the Cradle to Wasteland. I'm just gonna chill. This is also better if my opponent's playing a rack deck. Lavamancer, pretty decent against me, not gonna lie. I'd love to draw any land. Lavaman's getting in there, huh? Stupor. I'll discard Squee and comes back. It's not great. Okay, so I guess my opponent has non-targeted discard, or random discard I should say, so I'm gonna expose the Cradle for that reason. At least they're giving me a bunch of time. Lavaborn Muse. Okay, here's a wall. Nasty Core is not horrendous. The rest, still whiffing. Am I gonna win this game? There's no way I win this game, right? Not gonna block. Because if my opponent's last card is a Lightning Bolt, like this Well of Blossoms is pretty important right here. So I'm assuming my opponent has Bolt, I guess. So I'm doing this. It's not great because I can't regenerate, but Terminate. Yeah, that's bad for me. You don't have Bolt anymore. I don't think he has Bolt anymore. Alright, that's a card. Are we doing this? There's no way we're doing this, right? Duress, still nothing. Definitely blocking the Grim Lavamancer there. That's so good for me. Because now I know I have an untap. So pitch, Squee. I guess we're gonna get Quirion first. We could get Anger. I'm just gonna get Quirion first. We can get Anger next turn. Another survival. It's Quirion. Tap here. Bounce. Now Cradle taps for 2. Can go Squee into... Oh, but I cannot find Tusker. That's awkward. Go get Symbiote first. I guess I get Finhorn first. Cast Finhorn. And here I'm gonna have to... This is to make my Cradle. And now I have to tap a Swamp. Because otherwise my opponent just activates Lavamancer in response. Main phase, they go face. Interesting. Really? That's a super weird line. Can I win now if I go get Anger? So we get Priest. I think we may have lethal here. We pitch, get Priest. I have to fetch for a mountain. I guess what I do is I kill the Grim. So I play this. Get Priest, get Anger. Pitch Anger. Everybody's hasty now. Get Priest. Oh, I guess I don't need to get Masticore. I can just go get Thornscape. So now this taps for 3 mana. We get Kaisa. No, I have to kill the Lavamancer, I think. Because with Red Kicker, Lavamancer down. I can untap Priest, get Symbiote. Or I can just cast the Kaisa. So with both of these. So I set up lethal for next turn. I guess I don't have a forest to untap, so maybe that was wrong. Because I don't have a forest to bounce to hand now. So if my opponent has, yeah, I was gonna say, if they have Stupor and Bolt, I lose. Only Stupor I don't lose to, but Stupor plus Bolt, I do lose to. Because opponent's thing triggers first, like Lavaborn Muse triggers first. Okay, they have the Bolt. Yeah, maybe I was a little bit too greedy about that. But I suspect that they had a Bolt, because they just main phase Lavamancer activation me for no reason, so that seemed weird. Anyway, Sharpshooter seems good, Genesis seems good. I think I like Winter Orb as well. Do I care about Pyroclasm? I'm gonna bring in Vigilantes, but I'm not gonna bring in Naturalizes, I don't think. I think I want to be pretty heavy on creatures. Let's cut some Hermits. Is Hermit better than Poacher? Not even sure if that's the case. I think I do like Sharpshooter, and I'm gonna cut maybe 2 Elves, because I think my opponent's gonna bring in Engineered Plagues and stuff. But I'm actually not particularly scared of Engineered Plague. I would be scared of something like Fire Covenant. Yeah, it's fantastic. This is kind of what I was trying to envision with this deck. It's kind of like, doesn't really matter how it lines up. Like if my opponent kills my creature here on turn 1, doesn't really matter. Definitely playing survival here. I want to prevent it from being hit by duress. And I guess that I'm going to play out Premodern Ranger because it's basically free. Like there's no real use in pitching for Squee, right? I'm not getting any advantage by doing so. Terminate my bird. A little bit annoying, but fine. So I think we're just gonna play this. Actually, let's go bird into swing with Query on Ranger. It doesn't block. Untap. Replay forest, pass the turn. Trying to develop a little bit here, and we're gonna be 1 card deeper now. Engineer Plague. Sure. What do you name? This is what I was saying. Like, sure, the name elf, whatever. Like most of my deck is not elves. So let's pitch a bird here to go get Squee and start drawing cards now. And I think we're gonna be good. This is a good spot for Tusker. No blocks, of course. Squee comes back. No land is unlucky, but fortunately I can't really afford to go get a mountain. I have to go get a basic forest so I can keep drawing cards. Next turn we get 2 Wall of Blossoms. Dystopia. It's pretty good. It's definitely pretty good. So let's pitch Squee. I guess we just get a bunch of walls here. Could get Genesis. We could go get Genesis. No, this doesn't work. Dystopia triggers first, I think. I really want to get Anger going though. I could get Thornscape this turn. Let the Genesis go. Let the Survival go. I just work with what I have. I think I like that. So now Dystopia is going to blow up the Survival. I don't think my opponent's card is a Bolt because they would have killed the bird before that. Now we play Wall. We drew Cradle, so now we get to cast Wall and also cast Thornscape with Kicker. Skill Slavamancer, which is not a problem right now, but it will probably be a problem down the line. Let's see what my opponent has. Another Plague. They name Elf again. Very interesting. Buy Wall. Genesis. Let's play Wall. Nice draw. Pretty nice draw. So now we just go... I guess we can pitch Squee or we can pitch Genesis. And we can pitch Genesis, I guess. Usually we can't play Elves, but it's totally fine. I think I want to... My opponent can't answer this Survival besides Dystopia, so I can just spend this turn to go get Bird of Paradise, so I can further develop my mana. Obviously, my opponent could have another Engineered Plague, which would be a problem, but I think barring exactly that, we should be in good shape. Hypnotic Spectre, it's largely irrelevant. I could, again, discard the Survival, but I think I'm going to let one of these birds go. I'm going to activate to pitch Genesis here, though, so I go get another Thornscape, so I kill the Hypnotic Spectre. Get back Squee. Priest doesn't really do anything, so let's cast Thornscape with Kicker, just a shock. I don't know, maybe I should have played an Antuco there and just take a hit from them just to get rid of Dystopia. I'm drawing a lot of cards though. There's no way this doesn't work, right? So pitch Squee, get Anger, pitch Anger, get Blossoms, Sharpshooter, Masticore is also interesting. I think I need to get Masticore, so I'm gonna let the Survival go this turn. I think I need to keep my board solid. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play Masticore. I'm just gonna ping the Lavamancer. And now slowly but surely for a turn. Yeah, opponent can't even pay for Dystopia anymore. The problem is without Dystopia, I don't think I can lose anymore. I'm not even pitching real cards to this Masticore. Spinning Darkness. Man, needing to do this in the face of a Genesis is so brutal for them. Yeah, let's get back Tusker. It's Tusker time. Do I even get the mountain here, or do I just keep getting green sources? Nah, I get the mountain. Support. So we let this go. There goes Squee. Genesis gets back Thornscape. Actually, nah. I think we're at a point where we're just doing Vigilante. I guess Winter Orb is not good against my opponent's deck, is it? Yeah. I guess we just cast a Hermit just to get squirrels. Can actually buff the squirrels, but I exposed the Kaisa for no reason. I think I'm just gonna do this. Eat one of the plagues and just pass the turn. Now this should be lethal next turn. Pyroclasm, probably best thing that my opponent could have, but it's not really doing anything. On to game number 3. So not super high on the Winter Orbs after that game. My opponent's going pretty hard on the enchantments, so maybe we can just cut the Winter Orbs and just leave like a one-off Tranquil Domain. Slightly worse in the case of Factory, but my opponent's going really hard on the enchantments, so I think it's worth the switcheroo there. This hand looks pretty good. Definitely gonna keep this. Turn 1 Swamp, pass. Can work with this. Now it's gonna be a matter of what do we do on turn 2. I think we're gonna try to go for Survival. my opponent can play, Dystopia, but if they do, I still get some value from Squee and stuff. So pitch, Squee, I guess I'm gonna pitch Anger. Does Anger matter more than Genesis? I think Genesis matters more. Matters more being in the graveyard, I mean, of course. Here, I guess I get, just because it's free to play with the Cradle. This rack is not doing anything, ever. One should pay for Dystopia for sure. Only thing I don't want to see here is a Hypnotic Spectre. Yeah, Genetic Plague I'm not super worried about. They name Elf. Interesting, even though they know I have a bird, and they still name Elf. Definitely get back Squee. That's a very nice draw. So now I get to go double bird into playing around Pyroclasm. I could have played Priest there. Guess I can do everything, huh? Do I throw away Cradle just for a burst of mana? Just so I can deploy this library? I don't think I do. I think it's just chill. So suck my wall. Don't get back Genesis, because I'm gonna get back that wall next turn. Oh man, that's adding insult to injury, isn't it? So white and 1 going to cast with White Kicker. This blows up the rack, and now I'm deploying the library. Wish I had found the land there, but this is still looking pretty good shape. Another play. Yeah, this doesn't matter. They should name bird here, but I feel like at this point I'm in very good shape. Like, this is fine, but now they cannot keep the Dystopia anymore. So this is annoying, definitely very annoying, but I don't think it's going to stop me kind of what I needed. So now I just play this silly Squee just to make sure that I have mana, just to make sure Cradle does something. And now Genesis is going to start doing the thing. Spinning Darkness, Hardcast. To kill a Squee. Man, that's really going hard, huh? So Squee comes back. Definitely spending this turn to get back Wall of Blossoms. My opponent has literally nothing going on. I find survival, jeez. Yeah, we're done here. I could take all of these turns off because my opponent's deck is just not able to keep up with my engine. I've done the 1 card in hand. Great draw. So play that. Let's play Wall of Blossoms. Get my mountain. Play survival, and this should be game. Dystopia number 2. Yeah, you got it. It's just too much. Doesn't matter anymore. In fact, this is good for me, because now what I can do is sack my dudes to my walls to Dystopia and just draw a gazillion cards. Definitely a misclick, but it'll be okay. Get back Thornscape there because I can, mostly. The main reason. Lavaborn Muse. Discarding to hand size. That's rough. That is rough. Pitch the Anger. Get Wall of Blossoms. Yeah, this turn I just get a bunch of walls. Dystopia kills survival, that's fine. Maybe I could have gotten something else there just to get another wall. It's pretty good. Alright, sure. Shamkilome. Just adding insult to injury. There's no more respect. There just isn't any more respect. Pass the turn. Dystopia. Might as well tap that mountain right there. So now, with this trigger on the stack, we're gonna get the other Wall of Blossoms. Draw even more cards. Wall of Blossoms. Redraw. Bear the Paradise. Because it's free. How much mana do we have here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So it's like Poacher mana, doesn't it? That sounds very, very much like Sky Shroud Poacher mana. Pass the turn. Now Kaisa on end step. And my boy did the ranged during my turn. We can also get Quirion Ranger and tap the Poacher, but we don't have enough mana to do anything. The rack. I wonder if my opponent should have just sided out the rack. They're saying they had Wither the Wretch, so maybe it's just they just have to YOLO and just hope that it works out. I want to get Wall of Blossoms. I guess sure. Why not? Let's get a wall. And now we play Thinhorn Elves. Get 3 mana to cast a Wall of Blossoms. Sharpshooter is funny here. 1, 2, 3. Poacher to get Quirion Ranger. Ranger untaps the Poacher. Make 8 mana. Play Masticore. I'm not optimizing here. This is just, I think we're very much done. There may be better lines. Who knows? It's 9 mana. Get a Deranged Hermit. It's pretty good. I did enjoy that very much. See you for the next round. Welcome to round number 4. This is a classic Cradle no lands hand. Fortunately, those don't happen. Fortunately, those don't happen too often. This is a double Cradle hand, so I can go turn 1 Dork into turn 2 Port, and then hope I draw something. This is, I should probably mulligan into 5, but this hand can cast literally anything that we draw. Black Vise, Stasis probably. So I'm gonna lead on Llanowar Elves so we can Priest on turn 2. Mishra's Factory. Oh, just main decking Black Vise for no reason. I see. Oh, that's a target for my... So let's play a bird. And then I play a Rishadan port and pass the turn. Hoodwink. Alright, I did not expect that. My opponent is doing some spice. This sounds like a very good matchup for us, though. So I'm not particularly worried about this. Ha, well, there you go. There's a threat. So let's play a bird. And then we're going to play priest here. We can play for mana leak. Arcane Denial. That is most definitely a card. We're drawing 2, in case you were wondering, by the way. In case you were wondering, yes, we are drawing 2. I'm taking 1 and upkeep. No problem. No big deal at all. Indentured Gene. You may draw 3. Yeah, I'll draw 3. That's fine. This is looking very good for us. We're gonna easily be able to deploy our entire hand. I don't even care about this Black Vise, because we have these birds that help me. So I'm gonna be taking 4, and then that's it. So let's do this. Play Hermit, unless they have foil somehow. Now we tap for 8 mana, and we can do play Quirion, and we can play Poacher plus Battle Mage just to not take any damage. I think that makes sense because I have a second Battle Mage. This also makes my Cradle much better. I can still just drop a Hermit next turn, and I can go get 2 Hermits with Poacher. Can I? Oh, I can do that on upkeep. Wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah, let's do that. Take 4, totally fine. Down to 7 we go. With only 3 mana, I don't think my opponent's going to be able to do too much over there. This is definitely a card. Indentured Gin. It's pretty cool. Ah, smart. My opponent is smart. I could suck a land to bounce the Gin. Allows my opponent to bounce something else though. So I think I'm chilling. Second Vise. Well, good thing I didn't. I'm only taking 1 now. It's kind of awkward that I guess I have to. Oh, I can't. I don't need to. I can pay and then bounce with untap with Quirion Ranger so that I have red mana. Sorry, white mana, I mean. And I have a bunch of mana for Cradle. So this seems fine. And I still have a blocker. Survival. Well, I have the Mountain and I have infinite mana, so this has to be lethal here. But I'm going to just stab this for survival in case my opponent's main decking a null or something. Because this will need to resolve. Okay, so that did resolve. So now I can pitch Squee, get Anger, pitch Anger. That we have 6 mana left. Our priest is gone, so no use with that. But I can go. I'm not gonna have enough mana, so I guess I just play out the Hermit. So play the Mountain, pitch Squee. But yeah, all of these squirrels are gonna be way more than lethal. Pitch Anger. I guess I can get Symbiote just to guarantee that I don't die, because this allows me to bounce an elf to make sure that I can have 2 blockers for the Djinn. So this seems fine. But obviously, this is way more than lethal, so. 1 mana to Chain of Vapor, my dude. Does that change anything? I guess I might as well bounce it for free to untap my bird right now, just to have a blocker. Oh, this is still lethal, never mind. There you go. Alright, so mono blue, Jin, and stuff. That's the name of the deck. Let's bring in these Naturalizes. I'm not super into these Masticores. Vigilantes sound fine. Tanglewire sounds quite decent. Winter Orb sounds also quite decent. So let's cut these walls for some wires. Library sounds pretty decent, actually. I could cut a Hermit on a wire, maybe. I mean, I'm actually not super high on wire. I think I like the Winter Orb well enough, but I'm not super digging the Tanglewire. This hand. What is this hand? I guess it's okay. If they have turn 1 Black Vise, maybe it is too slow. What are the chances my opponent has turn 1 Black Vise twice in a row, though? People should not be this lucky, you know? I led on the Foothills, by the way, to play around Hoodwink or Boomerang on turn 2. So we're obviously gonna play the Priest. I think I want to go for a Mountain. If they do Arcane Denial here, I guess I am going to let that resolve. I'm not gonna draw, because now we are, you know, staring at a Black Vise here. How does my opponent's deck function when they don't have Black Vise is the question. Am I drawing 3? Like, I really need to find a land. This means I'm taking 6 on my upkeep. Yeah, I guess I need to find a bird. Wow, I'll start some sketchy draws there. I guess we're doing this. Bird as a chump blocker and Priest as a potential way to win. And what am I discarding? The Sylvan Library? Wash out. That's cool. Alright, that's very cool. Alright, we got there. Okay, so this seems fine to me. Can't really play around Wash out, unfortunately. This looks okay. Let's be on the play. And we have a great draw. So now this hand's gonna be, I think, a little bit tough for my opponent to beat. Question is, do I want to pitch the elf or do I want to pitch the bird? Because I'm definitely going turn 2 survival. And I'm gonna begin to roll with the engine. I think I want to pitch the Llanowar elf, even though it makes Priest a little bit worse. But I think this is looking good. Man, my opponent just has Black Vise every time. I wonder if they're like just hard mulligan into Black Vise. Winter Orb. Not great right now. I guess the other option is to go for Llanowar Elf plus Library. Let's actually do that. Since I'm not going to be drawing a card for... This gets more card off of my hand. And it actually works better in the face of... Like, I'm not really... Like, I'm spending 1 mana to go, like, get a squee or something. So it's not really that great for me. Now, this coming turn, I can go Survival into... Oh, they boomerang the Library. That's very good for me. So now I can go Winter Orb into Survival. I mean, I guess I can just play Library again, since I can't pitch anything to Survival anyway, so it's obviously much better to get this. But this should hinder my opponent's development pretty considerably. Just pass the turn, untap, take nothing, see Library. Okay, so there it is. I think I want to pay 4 for another land. Actually, another land does not seem super great in the face of the Black Vise. Yeah, so I'm just gonna play Survival. Pass the turn. City of Traders. One and Dust, do the washout thing. So that's gonna be their entire turn. So I think I just let this go. My things get bounced. Oh, I should have actually pitched 1 card. This was a mistake. I should have pitched 1 card to shuffle, because I know that the top cards of my deck are blanks. So that was a mistake. I may lose because of that. Yeah, that was pretty bad. So let's play the Forest. And I guess I'm going Llanowar, Bird, cast Survival. And now on my upkeep, I'm going to shuffle, because I don't want to draw the second Library, obviously. They chain my Survival, so I guess we are going to draw that second Library. Not ideal. This Winter Orb is kind of doing work. Wasteland. Obviously, we're going to tap the Forest, take nothing. And the question now is going to be whether we play Library or whether we get Survival. It's actually very interesting. I think I'm going to go for Survival, because I really need to get either a Symbiote, I guess not a Symbiote, but like a Quirion Ranger in play. Because once I do, that unlocks my mana. Chain of Vapor, the Survival. Okay, I'm at 16 though. Like, I don't think my opponent's strategy is gonna get there, at least like this. This Winter Orb is doing really good work. So they just pass the turn. I untap another one of my forests. Cradle. That's a good draw. That's a very good draw. So, alright. So here's a Survival again. And here's a Cradle. So now 2 mana. Pitch Poacher. And I guess I am gonna get Squee. And then pitch Squee to get Quirion Ranger. And then play Quirion Ranger. And now we're looking pretty good. My opponent could have another washout, but that seems kind of okay. Pretty far from the end of the world for me. We're still not taking damage from Black Vise. And now they spent 4 mana for Parallax Tide. Sure. They take Carplucent Forest. They take the Cradle. They take another Carplucent Forest. They have Wasteland in play too. This match definitely ended up being a lot more interesting than I anticipated. But this is really because my opponent was able to have Black Vise on turn 1 every game, which is very, very good for them, obviously. So now we don't know the top card of our deck, so no need to do an upkeep. This is interesting, though. So I think I want to go... I have to be careful, because there's always the potential threat of washout. So I think it's important for me to make some more mana here. So I think I'm going for... I could go for Vigilante. If I go for Vigilante, can I activate Wreck now? I can play... Yeah, I can actually activate Wreck. So let's actually go for a Vigilante here. So I can blow up the Parallax Tide right now. I don't want to get stifled. Bounce, recast, flip. This obviously unlocks the Cradle. My opponent should exile 2 of their lands so they come back untapped. Not a right line. So now they're untapping my lands. I don't think they thought this through here. Yeah, they said, oops. That's the wrong thing to do. Now, they figure it out though. But now I have a bunch of mana, and I can spend this to pitch Gaisa. The Wasteland, that's fine. I'm gonna get Anger, and then actually I don't need to get Anger, never mind. But I definitely want to get Priest, and I guess I can use the 1 extra mana to cast the Library. So even if their last card is Washout, it just doesn't matter anymore. This coming turn I can go get the Apprentice, so that I destroy the Black Vise, and that should be game. I guess it's not the Apprentice, what's the Thornscape guy? Second Cradle. I guess I'm gonna keep the Mountain. Fetch for the Mountain. Make 3 mana, pitch this, get Thornscape with White Kicker, destroy the Vise. And again, I'm managing my cards on the board because there's like the very off chance that my opponent bounces my Winter Orb and then they play another Vise and then they wash out my board and then I have too many cards on board. So that bounces all my stuff and that could be a problem. I think it's pretty unlikely for that to happen. But I still think that it's prudent to manage my board, like how many cards I have in my board. Library, we're going to another Thornscape. I think I'm actually taking the Winter Orb here. So make 4 mana. We're going to pitch Squee, get Anger, pitch Anger. Now everybody's hasty. Do we just get Hermit? I could get Symbiote. Symbiote allows me to make a significant amount of mana, because I can bounce maybe the Thornscape to untap the Priest, and then I can pitch that to go get the Range Hermit. Alternatively, I can just go get Hermit. Yeah, I think I'm doing that. Regardless, I am definitely playing this Winter Orb. Maybe the best thing to get in this scenario is just another Vigilante, so that I have an instant speed way of bouncing, of destroying a Black Vise to make sure that I don't die randomly. These Winter Orbs did a lot of work. Replay my land. All right, 4-0, looking pretty great. On to next round. This is a great example of what I was saying. Maybe one of these 3 Shadow Ports should be another forest. Like, we have 13 green sources, not counting Cradle, because you should not count Cradle to cast or feed on elves. So, I don't know. Interesting to think about. But obviously, you're going to mulligan that. Yep. Punish twice. This hand's pretty reasonable, actually. So let's keep this. We're going to bottom the Kaisa and I guess the Thornscape. Actually, Thornscape is more flexible than Vigilante. We'll see what we're paired against. Shivan Reef. Let's play basic forest and pass the turn. Shivan Reef Battlefield Forge. That is a couple of turns 1 and 2 plays. I'm going to lead on World of Blossoms to play around Mana Leak. I'm not sure what I'm playing against, so I'd rather withhold this information as much as possible. Impulse. So it does look like some sort of control deck. This is the kind of matchup that Richard and Port really does good work against. Second blue source. So now we untap. I'm going to play Karplus in Forest and pass the turn. I'm not going to play my survival into a counterspell. So I'm going to port a blue source and then untap and potentially port another one. Oh, I can just do that instead. So yeah, let's actually play survival, see if it resolves. Unlikely that it does, but this taps 2 of my opponent's lands. So if I port and then my opponent has still like Mana Leak, that's problematic for me. So this actually forces the survival through. Obviously we can get God by Disenchant, but I have to play around counter magic more so that Disenchant, they probably have much more counter spells between Mana Leaks and whatnot than they do Disenchants. And we untap with survival. That's very, very good for us. Land. So I could just go get Squee and then just play another land. I think I'm just passing this turn and I'm using port to tap a white source. They could factor Fiction on end step. So let's go to end step. And now we're gonna have a big turn. So this is Squee. Gonna pitch Squee, get Anger, pitch Anger, get something else, maybe the Range Hermit. Yeah, that sounds good. And now we can start jamming every turn to make my opponent's ice my port. Very interesting. Okay, it's a good thing to ice there. So that Rangers doesn't really do anything. I do think that I'm just throwing this Hermit into a counterspell. Mana Leak. As it is, we're not going to be able to play around Mana Leak for quite a bit. So I think just tapping my opponent's mana is productive. That is one turn that I did not draw a card though. Morph. Exalted Angel? I'm assuming that's Exalted Angel. So these are all hasty. So we can pitch, Squee, get Priest. I'm trying to think if I can port, but I don't think I can. So I'm just going to cast this Priest. Then I'm going to cast this Quirion Ranger. They bolt. Okay, so I float the mana. This means I can now untap whatever. Bounce this, and now we're going to Battle Mage with Red Kicker to kill this angel. Get in there for 3. Survival's doing good work. So I don't know if my opponent's playing the Solution. I don't know if they're playing an actual control deck. So far from what I've seen, they've played a bunch of cards that could mean either one of those. We did see Wrath of God. That's totally fine. We did see the importance of... Okay, so that means that it's a control deck. But we do see how important it is that we are in a situation where... Like, I made my opponent's Fire and Ice bad. If I were playing Elves, instead of my opponent being forced to use Fire Ice to tap a random Shadow Port at one point, instead they were in a situation where the best thing that they could do was something pretty irrelevant. I do like that quite a bit. And now we have a never-ending stream of the range hermits that all have haste. We don't have the potential to have like very explosive turns. Like if we were playing like regular elves with this current situation, my opponent tapping up for a wrath, we probably can find a lethal line. But because we only have access to one Priest of Titania and one Quirion Ranger, we don't have access to that explosive potential, so we couldn't actually have lethal. But we put my opponent in a much more awkward spot earlier by just not having access to a bunch of 1/1s, because my opponent could have gotten a ton of value by casting their Fire and Ices very effectively. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, as everything in this format. You can't have it all. That's one of the main reasons why I love it so much. So I do like Winter Orb quite a bit, and I think that it's possible that Tangle Wire is also worth it. I'm a little bit less high on it on the draw. On the draw, I'm not as excited about it. On the play where we can drop this proactively, I'm much more excited about it. But I think on the draw, I'd rather have access to catch-up mechanisms. The question is whether I want to have a 10 1/1s versus Wall of Blossoms. I think I'm gonna go with the 1/1s. Maybe Kaisa is bad. This hand looks quite reasonable, actually. City of Brass. That's rough for them. I'm also playing a port deck, so definitely not what they would have liked to see. So let's see if they bolt on one. They do. The Range Hermit. I think we're just gonna take it super easy here. Take things slow. Swords to Plowshares. Okay, my opponent is like trading 1 for 1. I'm pretty excited about this. We get to cast Factor Fiction next turn. Bird. It actually does not fit in my curve, so I'm just going to pass now. If they have Tithe, this is kind of annoying, but if they don't, we are in very good shape. Furnace. Okay, that's actually pretty good against us. So let's fetch, get Mountain, I guess, and cycle Tusker. Get a basic forest and draw another Hermit. That's pretty nice, actually. Yeah, we're just gonna start trolling my opponent, porting on their their City of Brasses, which is pretty hilarious. Like, with my opponent missing land drops here, they should, it's very likely they should just be cycling this Phyrexian Furnace. I don't think they can afford to miss another land drop. Like, I know that they want to get more value from this, but yeah, I mean, this is just a disaster for them, right? I could I guess the best thing to do here is to drop a Genesis. Yeah, let's do that. So this is a threat that it's very awkward for them to counterspell, and they already used one Swords to Plowshares. This also disincentivizes them from cycling this Phyrexian Furnace, which is what I don't want them to do, because I want them to keep on missing land drops. Okay, so they're actually fetching for a blue source. Lightning Angel. That is most definitely a card. Let's play Cradle. Let's play the Range Hermit. And we get to swing for 4. They activate Furnace in my end step. And on upkeep, I tap their City of Brass. So now I am putting my opponent in a very awkward spot. Pretty far away from being killed. They kind of want to Wrath, but they don't have the mana, because Rishadan Port is kind of busted. Rishadan Port in and of itself represents a clock here. With his City of Brass, which I find absolutely hilarious. Here we pay for the Range Hermit on upkeep, and we still are gonna have enough to drop another Hermit next turn, plus port them. Yeah, they finally cycle the Furnace. Again, I think they had a window to do this that they didn't take, and I think that was pretty risky. So here we do that. Ice the Genesis. Oh, that's a card. All right, 7 mana. What can I do for 7 mana? Maybe play a Hermit and a Winter Orb? Maybe? So now they have to block one of these squirrels. Forced block. They go to 1, and I kill them on upkeep to their City of Rest. So they have to untap something else. And whatever they untap, I just tap with the port. Okay, my opponent's going out in style. Good stuff. 5-0. I'm enjoying this deck very much. I am not gonna lie. Alright, folks, so we have a very last match of this league. This is the kind of hand that I think is a trap to keep. We have a reasonable amount of threats, but that hand does literally nothing. This hand is spectacular, on the other hand, so let's keep it. I think I'm gonna bottom the Vigilante. We get to go turn 1 Bird, turn 2 we can either develop or drop a survival. And we can do 2+1 if we want to. So I'm definitely, well, never mind. We're not going to be able to play survival. But we still have a bunch of stuff to do here. So let's play the Wall of Blossoms first. And I guess I am going to play the Symbiote here. Another Hermit. Now if we draw a Cradle, we can literally just cast these Hermits. We definitely don't want to see something like Cabal Therapy. But so we're going to serve. And I think I'm just going to drop a Vigilante just to keep pressure up. I don't think it's going to be able to destroy anything unless my opponent's in Blue-Black Shrimp. But I'm not sure that Blue-Black Shrimp can support like main deck duresses. I hope we're playing against something like Psychatog. I love that deck so much. But this is definitely the kind of matchup that gets substantially better with this version of the deck, because Engineer Plague, like, imagine my opponent had Engineer Plague here. What do they even name? It's largely an irrelevant card. Okay, so let's play another Wall of Blossoms here. So I guess we can develop mana at least. And this is nice because now my opponent can't actually attack. Portent. Blue-Black Psychatog. That's another deck that I've been thinking about for a bit. I feel like this deck has potential. It seems pretty hard to figure out how to properly build it, because it's not like you can just... Like, the issue with this kind of deck is that you cannot just simply play 4 Swords to Plowshares and call it a day, right? Like, your creature suite, it's actually quite challenging to put together. Yeah, so let's play a Priest. We're playing around Mana Leak. pretty nicely here, so it needs to be counterspell, which they do have. Okay, pass the turn. Can't really do much. Maybe, actually, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe what I should have done is I should have just waited, because that's a turn that my opponent had only 3 mana available, meaning they cannot factor fiction. So because they can't factor fiction, we're in a spot where, like, it's not as awkward for them. Sure, they could have another impulse, but it's not as awkward for them to counterspell there. So if I pass the turn, I time walk them, because if they have factor fiction in hand, they can't actually cast it. Instead, they did portent opt stuff, so kind of irrelevant. Or Hermit flooded. So we technically can play this deranged Hermit, but it's gonna get most likely countered, so I don't want to run it. Once again, I'm trying to make my opponent's mana as awkward as possible. Symbiote gets blown up. At least in terms of finding like card advantage spells. Tap out for deep analysis. Kind of risky, I'm not gonna lie. So now if I find the line, I can just drop the range hermit. Thornscape Battle Mage. It's not great. I'm gonna cast it because I have nothing better to do, but I will definitely confirm that that is not great. I think I'm gonna go face. I guess not even worth trying to do 2 to the Psychatog. Like, it effectively exiles a card from my opponent's graveyard. I guess it opens up an attack with the Vigilante, but again, like, it's just not even worth it. Just passing the turn, which is hanging out. Main phase impulse. Once again, opponent just tapping out main phase. Huh. Wow. It's kind of crazy. So if we find anything... Obviously, Cradle is our best draw here. Basic force, okay. So if they have days, they have days. Nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. They gush. Oh, gush foil. Gush foil is definitely much less bad for me. They do have Wonder though, so I may just be dead here. I guess I should have attacked because they have a Wonder, so I feel like I think it's possible they should have attacked. But yeah, we're very much dead here. On to the next one. So we want Genesis. We don't want Tomor Script. We want Tangle Wire. I think we want Tranquil Domain, and I think we may want Naturalizes as well. Not sure about that though. I think I can cut one elf, cut the Masticores. Kaisaka may actually do work against Engineer Plague now that I think about it. So I'll keep Thornscape. Don't think, yeah, I don't like Thornscape. I was thinking of Curse Totem, but obviously my opponent cannot play Curse Totem because it stops their own combo. So probably not great. Not a great Curse Totem deck. Maybe I think I'm overdoing it too much on the Naturalizes. I think I'd rather have Vigilantes, but Winter Orb on the other hand is kind of appealing because they're cantripping a lot. So I think I do like the Winter Orbs. So let's cut one wall. Let's cut 2 walls. Walls, I guess walls do work really well with Tangle Wire, so maybe I should be valuing walls a little bit higher. Man, another one of these hands that are just very, very awkward with no green source. Another one of those. Am I keeping this and just hoping that I find... No, I can't do that. Okay, a little bit more reasonable. So I guess we're gonna bottom the Ranger and Fithorn. So keep this, bottom those 2, turn 1 elf, turn 2 priest. Main phase Portent. Guess it's the only place you can play Portent, so never mind. just Portent. There we go. Cradle. Not a bad draw. Not a bad draw at all. So we can actually just drop this Hermit on turn 2. Mull to 5, but... That's really awkward. This plays into an all. I think I may be far behind enough that I need to hope that my opponent doesn't have it. So now we move on to second main phase. They don't use the mana. Play Survival. Hope it resolves. Foil. That sucks for me. Okay, don't have mana. So if my opponent has Engineer Plague, actually, this is going to be awkward, but I'm going to be super dead. So please don't have it. They definitely have it. They very, very much have it. And Mull to 5 and having a very not nice against play draw didn't work out. At least it's hopefully going to be a while before they can drop a Psychatog. They're cantripping real hard, though. We're not super bad yet, though. I'm not going to say that we're in good shape, because we're not, but... like, it's kind of not horrendous, because if we find like one mana dork that kind of unlocks our Cradle, and then we can just go from there, go Poacher into Hermit. So there's definitely like a lot that we can do from a very, like, we don't need to get that lucky is what I'm trying to say. Basic Forest. Yeah, pass the turn. Definitely gonna keep on porting, but I think we're very much in rough shape here. Maybe my opponent will tap a little bit too low, or we can punish them, but it's not looking great. Really good draw, actually. I'm gonna play a Winter Orb to bait out a counter spell. Like, I think they kind of have to counter this. Annul. Okay. Once again, port the Black Source, Tangle Wire. Yeah, actually, I have to play that. It's not really that great here. It does bait out the counter spell. I tapped it wrong, by the way, because then my opponent could have, like, bounced my bird, and they prevent me from porting them, so that was definitely a mistake. Squee. It's not great. Could play it out just to make my Cradle better. I think I have to do something more impactful. So let's go Poacher. Hardcast Foil. Tap the swamp again. Yeah, they finally smother my dude. It's likely they should have done that. If they had it, they should have done that a while ago. Please get there. Yes. Are we actually gonna get away with this game? There's no way, right? I mean, opponent's down to 2 cards in hand. We already have the Squee. Coffee and Purge, the Squee. Sure. Guess I just get a Wall of Blossoms so I can continue chugging. They didn't have the counter spell last turn, so I'm gonna play Hermit. It dies to the Engineer Plague, but I still get the 1/1s. And now my Cradle taps for a lot of mana. So I think I'm going to actually bait here. Oh, they have Tog. Pass the turn. This is a much better one to pitch. So let's go get Anger. Potentially this can bait the Purge next turn. Here's Tusker. Get the Mountain. So obviously I'm trying to set up Genesis here. Here's a wall and pass the turn. This also forces my opponent to use the Purge right now if they have it. Good. So now I can set up Genesis, which is obviously much better in this current scenario. Roll to 5, baby. Not bad. So I guess these are just dead. So let's go pitch Fiendhorn, get Genesis, pitch Genesis, get Vigilante, lay land, 5 mana, play a Morph, could be anything. Guess I might as well flip this now. Chain of Vapor. Sure, that's fine. These Reshadow boards have been unreal. Just absolutely unreal. I'm trying to think whether I'm supposed to just go ahead and play around Wonder. I don't think I'm supposed to. We do have a lot of mana here, and my opponent is kind of struggling over there. The Survival is just doing really good work. I think they're trying to dig for Wonder, because it feels like the only way they can get away from this. So I think I want to get a couple of Bursts of Paradise in play, just to make things a little bit worse for my opponent. Let's go for Poacher. 1, 2, 3. Get back the Poach. And we can pitch Ranger to go get a bird. 6 mana. Play Poacher, play bird, play land so I can double port. Guess I can swing. Tap the Black Source, smother the bird. My opponent knows they're out. I'm not sure if we're dead here if they find Wonder. Maybe because of Wonder specifically, I'm supposed to bring in Tormod's Crypt, just because Wonder is so good. There's the Plague. Just gonna name, probably bird, Squirrel. So we are gonna get back the bird, and we draw another port. Very interesting. So let's play the bird, play the port, and we're gonna swing with the Vigilante here. So we're gonna tap both Black Sources, see what my opponent has to say about it. Looks like nothing, huh? So we're gonna go get Kaisa on instead. So port your land, fetch, get Kaisa. Genesis back, the Quirion Ranger. That's pretty good. Yep, it's pretty decent. Play this, and that resolved. So let's swing with this guy. Oh, I tapped that wrong. I should have tapped the bird so that I can untap it and like bounce. Oh, opponent is blocking. This is good for me because this eats up at their damage output. Good stuff. And now I forgot that I had one of these land drops. I think it's gonna be fine because Tanglewire is gonna do good work here. Roll to 5, but it's looking like it's gonna be likely we pull it off. Port the river, port the island. Poacher, Deranged Hermit. Squirrels are now officially 2/2s. Stack my triggers properly. Might as well get another bird. Just some casual 10 mana. Gonna pay for that. Gonna pay for Genesis. And I guess we might as well use the remaining mana to activate Poacher and get another Hermit. Gonna tap some creatures. Combat. On to game 3, folks. Roll to 5 against a turn 3 Engineer's Plague, which got rid of my Priest and my Fiendhorn Elves or whatever. Not half bad. Not half bad. Man, Tormod's Crypt is just so awkward. I do think I want the Tangle Wires. Maybe I don't want the Winter Herbs. Bring in Crypts instead. Maybe just the 1. Let's do 1 and 1. Split the difference. Good showing for Kaisa there. Kaisa being like a durable answer, quote unquote, to the Engineer Plague is kind of sexy. Maybe I should cut Priest so I have more 1s. Never mind, too late. Because we're a little bit heavy on 1s, on 2s, and maybe not heavy enough on 1s. Okay, this hand looks reasonable. It's not like insane or anything, but it has good mana. Would love for one of these lands to be a port. If one of these were a port, I think we would be in very good shape. You know, lead on Quirion Ranger. If my opponent has a removal spell, maybe they'll use it here. I'd rather protect the Symbiote. Seems more impactful overall. Tanglewire, not bad. Start off with an attack. Good stuff. Now, I think I want to play... Let's play Cradle. This gives me more options down the line. Psychatog, just drop it immediately. Oh, this is a nice spot for this Tanglewire card. It's going to give me a pretty reasonable amount of time, I think. Maybe they'll fold this. Could foil. Gush in response. So that makes Tanglewire double time walk. So, okay, they foil. Sure. Send the turn back. Until they have Wonder, they can't attack though, which is nice. Because we can just block. Block and bounce. Block and bounce. So let's cycle Tusker first. Get the Mountain. Draw a blank. Not what we wanted to see. But here we are. If they play Engineer Play with it on the stack, I'm gonna bounce the Korean Ranger, because it makes a drone survival that much better. Library. My opponent doesn't have double island, so I'm just gonna pass here. I'm gonna wait for a turn where I can just play 2 impactful spells in the same turn. Otherwise, I am playing into my opponent's game plan of like casting 1 counter spell per turn. There it is. So we're just going to bounce Ranger and let that resolve. They should probably name Insect, which is annoying, but at the same time, this is literally the only insect in my entire deck, so it's not particularly impactful. So I think I'm going to sit on this Tranquil Domain for a little bit. There's no reason to fire it off right now. Llanowar Elf is not a great draw, but it's not a terrible draw either, I guess. We can play it with it Foothills, 3 shuffle. Notably, we can take some hits from this Tog. It's not particularly close to lethal as it is. Second play would be pretty brutal though. Second Tog, not that bad. So draw Tormod's Crypt. The problem with Tormod's Crypt we see right here. Port. Okay, that is at least a little bit annoying for them. I'm gonna port the river. The awkward thing here is we're kind of far away from doing anything meaningful. So this is 1, 2, down to 14, down to 12. At 6, that is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think I'm gonna have... I'm just gonna take it. If they have a Gush, I lose, but I can't just throw away both Korean Rangers, right? Like I'm not, yeah, okay, so now I lose to the Gush. But I cannot just throw away, like it doesn't make any sense to jump one of them because the other one just kills me just the same. And there's no reason for me to throw both. Like if I throw both creatures under each one of these Psychatogs, like what's my goal, right? Where am I going, right? I can't really move further past that. So I think that is correct there, just to take the hit and just hope that my opponent doesn't have like enough cantrips and stuff. So but there you go. Again, like this is potentially a matchup where actual elves is a little bit more exciting. Yeah, I mean, my hands just did not really work out. Still pretty impressive how I managed to win on 5. There you go. So that's gonna be it for this video then. There you have it, everyone. We had a pretty good run with this deck. It actually worked out super well. It kind of did exactly what I expected it to do, which is nice. When you envision something and then that's exactly how everything works out. I definitely have a bunch of thoughts about it. First of all, I think that this 4th port should be something else. I think 3 port is a fine number. And I found myself craving for some green sources. This is a very, very mana-hungry deck, so I definitely want to make sure that I add maybe another forest, maybe another Carplusum forest. So it's going to be a forest of some kind. We'll figure that out at some point. I'm going to start with another forest, and then we'll see how that goes. Past that, I'm 100% convinced that this is a 4 Wall of Blossoms deck. I don't know if this is also a Wall of Roots deck, but Wall of Blossoms was just stellar. It was so good. I found myself just survivaling for it very often because it was the most stable way to enable my Gaia's Cradles. So I definitely want a 4th Wall of Blossoms. I want to draw it naturally more often. The awkward thing is that Sylvan Library was also fantastic. So I don't know what I'm going to cut to make room for another wall, but I definitely want a 4th wall. That part is for sure. The 2 cards that really overperformed the most were Kaisa and the Battle Mage. Both of these cards were just really good every single time that they showed up, and I found myself going out of my way in order to get this into play. So I'm very excited about both of these, and I'm very happy that I tried out the Kaisa in the list. It works so well with this Kai Shroud Poacher. Like this two just works so well together, and the flexibility to be able to use Poacher, like this card also actually overperformed. Let's put it here in the overperformer side, because Poacher was also totally fantastic. It was able to do the thing very often, and when it did, it was really impressive. I think that all of these working very well is a reason to not want to have 4th copies of the Range Hermit. So that is something that was a little bit awkward. Definitely having access to 31 creatures is very good for survival purposes, but just drawing multiple hermits, it was actually very clunky. So I think, and one of the things that I'm gonna try out is to actually cut a hermit for the Wall of Blossoms. That's probably like the first place that I want to go. It's gonna increase the number of 2-drops and decrease the number of 5-drops, which is good. But yeah, the hermits in particular were a little bit on the clunky side. So it does feel like it's a little bit too many high drops, to put it somehow. Even though this deck was precisely built around having more beef and more like actual substance as opposed to just having a bunch of like random 1/1s. these felt, even though the hermits were fantastic, but they were clunking up my hand a little bit too often for my liking. So next time I try out the deck, I'm definitely gonna move one of these over here as a Wall of Blossoms, and I'm gonna see whether that smooths out things a little bit. The card that really underperformed the most was Masticore, but I'm pretty sure that's basically because of the matchups that I had. It was only the Machinehead where Masticore could have like shown up and done something, but besides that, every other matchup I just ended up cutting the Masticores. Like, it was just like a matchup lottery kind of thing. I do think the card is it just works well in the deck, and pound for pound it just aligns with what we're trying to do. Thornscape Battlemage does feel like it's fulfilling a similar role, so that's definitely something to think about, because we may want to like cut a Masticore and put it for a Thornscape in the future, or like that's something that it wasn't entirely clear to me. With how well the Thornscape Battle Mages did, I think that Masticore may be the one that I cut if I want to make room for one or more of these, because they have similar enough roles that I may want to do that split. 2-2 felt good though. Like, it's just fine. Worst case scenario, it was the first cut that we cut basically every single matchup. Regarding the sideboard, the Tangle Wires and Winter Orbs were really the overperformers. Once again, it's a matchup lottery kind of thing, but I was surprised in particular by the wires. These worked out better than I expected, because, you know, I was not super excited about them in elves, like regular elves, and that deck is even more well suited to run Tangle Wire, because it has so many untappers and so many 1-drops. So like, it's just too many material on the board that you can tap to the wire. It's just such a low floor card when it doesn't work out. So you're kind of a little bit, it's tricky. Winter Orb, though, I definitely want a third copy. Like, this card was very, very strong and very just consistently good. Like, it was easier for Winter Orb to do the thing than it was for Tanglewire to do the thing. So I could see going 3-3. So that seems like a fine split, and that's gonna be like my control, like combo package of sorts, to put it somehow. But yeah, the other cards, well, they were all just fine. Genesis in particular ended up doing some serious work in the leagues that we play. Obviously, the only cards that we didn't really see in action were the Pyroclasms and the Sharpshooter, but we had them as an option. It just wasn't something that we were prioritizing at that time. So maybe Sharpshooter is not as good as I'm thinking it is. So this is the only card. Pyroclasm, obviously, we just did not get paired against the matchups where the card is good against, so it just didn't even come in. But Sharpshooter came in, I guess, also against Machinehead, but even in there, it's got like a tool. And once again, Thornscape Battle Mage ended up being the card that we put in there. One card that I'm a little bit high on is Blood Moon. I think Blood Moon is kind of reasonable in Premodern right now, which it hasn't really been in the past. And this actually seems like a pretty decent Blood Moon deck, so that's another card to consider in the future. Maybe instead of like, I mean, it will be too many things. So if I run Blood Moon, it would be over Winter Orbs. But it's definitely a card to think about and to consider, because that may be relevant. That this could be like a pretty fine Blood Moon shell. So something to think about. That's gonna be it for me today, folks, though. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I surely did, and with a 5-1 record, I think it's very likely that we're gonna have a follow-up to this one. So looking forward to that one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on the way out, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.